It is the Odisha High Court versus the lawyers in the state of Odisha in the Supreme Court. Lawyers in the state have often gone on a strike or boycotted court work over various issues and concerns, but the Odisha High Court has this time taken the matter to the Supreme Court. And the matter escalated when on Monday, the Supreme Court warned these lawyers to either resume work from Wednesday or face consequences which could include being held guilty of contempt of court or facing suspension or even cancellation of their licenses. Now, what is exactly happening and why has the Supreme Court intervened now? I, Apoorva Mandhani, will tell you in this video. Now, strikes in district courts in Odisha have actually been under the Supreme Court radar for several years now. In fact, in October 2019, when the court was hearing another matter, the Supreme Court was informed that the Odisha High Court as well as district courts in the state had been brought to a standstill due to strikes by lawyers. The reason back then was the fact that the High Court Collegium had cleared the names of some candidates and lawyers and not cleared the names of a few other candidates. Then in November 2019, the Supreme Court also spoke of the impact of such strikes on the court. It noted that the High Court, in fact, had lost 65.5 out of its 210 working days in 2018, and in 2019, it lost up to 18 working days. The court had then suggested, and I quote, where if really the advocates feel that there is a cause to protest, they can wear white bands. Then on 17 February 2020, the Supreme Court was finally assured by the lawyer for the Central Action Commission of all bar associations of Western Odisha that all district bar associations will resume work. But now what has happened is that several strikes continue to happen by district court lawyers. There are several reasons behind lawyers not participating in regular court proceedings. According to an affidavit filed in the Supreme Court, there's a long list. You can see it on your screens right now. One such reason is the long-standing demand of lawyers to have a permanent bench of the High Court in the western part of the state at Sambalpur. There are various other reasons also that lawyers have given, for example, floods, scorching heat, demand for crop insurance, registration of a case against lawyers, heavy rainfall, demise of judicial officers, transfer of judicial officers, and enhancement of welfare funds for lawyers. Now, according to submissions made in the Supreme Court, some bar associations have also made it into a routine of sorts. For instance, the affidavit said that members of the Ganjam Bar Association are observing Satyagraha or Dharna during the last 4 days of every month. Members of the District Bar Association in Koraput district are not participating in last 2 working days of every month, and members of the Bhubaneswar Bar Association are boycotting work on the last Friday of every month. So last month what happened is that the Odisha High Court filed an application in the Supreme Court complaining about the loss of judicial time due to strikes and boycott of work by lawyers in various district courts in the state over the past few months. This application says that in the recent past, members of different bar associations have refused to participate in regular court proceedings. So the High Court in fact claimed that from January to September this year, the loss of cumulative judicial working hours in the subordinate courts in Odisha is 2,14,176 hours. It has therefore demanded that the Supreme Court should demand an explanation from the concerned district bar associations for not adhering to their assurances, which they gave in February 2020, like I told you. Now, the Registrar General of the High Court filed another affidavit on 10th November telling the Supreme Court about the reports received from district judges from Odisha on disruption of court work due to non-participation of lawyers. And it now told the court that in the month of October, 3,216 cumulative judicial working hours have been lost in at least 20 courts across the state due to abstention from work of lawyers. And it listed down other specific instances of court boycott by lawyers as well. It then said that such strikes on account of unreasonable demands has not only caused loss in judicial working hours and hampered court work, but also the process of justice delivery system has been greatly affected because of this. And responding to this application, the Supreme Court on Monday warned lawyers of the state. The bench emphasized on access to justice being the very foundation of the legal system and said, and I quote, "The legal fraternity is the instrument of access to justice to the people at large. When the very instruments abstain from court proceedings, the casualty is the access to justice to the common people, and it is the common people and litigants who suffer." The court said, "We will not countenance this," unquote. Now, Justice Kaul, who was hearing the matter, who was on the bench, then warned the advocates to not force their hand and said, even if we have to suspend 200 to 300 advocates, they will do that. The court said that they can ask the State Bar Council to cancel all their registrations, and it also said, and I quote, "We will come down very heavily on you," unquote. That's all I have for you for now. This is Apoorva Mandhani for The Print. For more such videos, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.